Hey guys, today I want to talk about what is ego. So ego seems to be this scapegoat word that spiritual people throws around to blame everything bad that happens to you. Whatever you did something wrong and people tell you, oh, it's ego. It's this word that seems to mean something very profound, but at the same time doesn't mean anything. So I want to tell you today what my definition of ego is. Are you ready? Ego is the part of your consciousness that is programmed to preserve the most recent version of your isolated individual identity. I'll say it again. Ego is the part of your consciousness that is programmed to preserve the most recent version of your isolated individual identity. Now, when you hear this, I don't want you to go intellectual on that. Don't come tell me that, oh, Natasha, I've read these 3 books by famous people that had like a different version of different definition of ego, and I disagree with you because ego means such and such, and your definition is wrong, and here's why. Don't do this. It's gonna be a waste of time. I'm telling you a definition not to keep yourself in your little head and run an intellectual exercise to make your ego feel smarter. That is not what we are doing here. Okay? So turn off this video unless you can calm down your smarty mind and listen. Okay? Deal? I'm sure you heard that we are all one. We are all different fingers on the same hand. We are all a universal consciousness. Sounds very good, but do you feel that way in your daily life? Probably not. Most of us don't walk around feeling that we are all one. It's a rare and elevated experience that we don't experience on a daily basis for most people. Most of the time, you experience you as you, and you are separate from me. And we all need to thank our ego for that. Because that's how most of the humans are wired. We all identify with a version of the self that is right here. And depending on the version of identity your ego is trying to preserve, your life experience can be drastically different. Ambition, confidence, drive, they can all come from your ego. Victimhood, shame, sense of self-inadequacy, they also come from ego. Someone who hates himself so much that he wants to kill himself likely have the similar amount of ego than Donald Trump. It's just they're manifested in different ways. I grew up in a hardworking middle-class family with perfectionistic parents. And I was told at a young age, those messages are, enforced countless times into my brain that you, Natasha, you are smart and you are capable and you need to live a meaningful life and make things happen and do great things. That was the message I got. And that was this version of self-identity that I carried with me for the longest period of time. So if you're like me, you'll probably work yourself to death. Or if you grew up in a family that doesn't emphasize on any kind of achievement, even worse, if your parents think that your existence is optional and not necessary at all, and then you probably grew up with a very different kind of self-identity from me. But the bottom line is, whatever identity that you establish, your ego is going to try to defend it at all costs. That means your ego is extremely risk-averse. It doesn't want you to change. That's why changes in human beings is so hard, because we are wired to preserve what we think we are. That's why most of us are self-righteous and stubborn and secretly think that we know better than anybody else. And that's why it's so hard for you to become happier and healthier and more productive when your existing self-identity only allows you to have a certain extent of all those things. And that's why a big chunk of the entire self-improvement industry is built upon inventing different kinds of tricks to trick your ego into allowing you to update your self-identity into an improved version. No matter whether it's a, self-affirmation, telling yourself, okay, I'm great, I'm beautiful, or whether it's a healing or a hypnosis or whatnot, a huge part of the self-improvement schemes existing in the world is centered upon updating the version of your self-identity so that to allow you to have a more productive life. Now that's all well and good. That works for a lot of people. But just know this, okay? If you exchange your Ford Focus for a Ferrari, your car runs faster, but it's still a car. It's not gonna make you fly. No matter how much you update and refine your self-identity, or no matter how much self-confidence and self-worth that your updated identity has, it's still an isolated self-identity. The amount of inner power you have and the amount of power you have to make an impact in the world is limited, is always limited by the amount that your self-identity allows you to have. So is it bad? No, not at all. Most people live happily or unhappily being wired this way. And, life with its intrinsic ups and downs and its happiness and sadness that we all experience. And despite all that, most of us survive life just okay. It's not like you have to change, you have to find a better way. But I hope I did make clear the limitations of being operated on ego. Since you're watching this, you're probably not 100% satisfied with your existing car model because you're the type of person that always think deeper, that always dig deeper. And your instinct tells you somehow there's gotta be a better way. That's why, you went and read all these books and you visited all the teachers, and that's why you're watching a video like this. Because your intuition is correct. There is indeed a better way that will allow you more freedom and joy and inner power. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective, in order for that to happen, in order for you to tap into the greater power available by directly connecting yourself to the universal consciousness and operate from that, a lot of your old self-identities have to go. That is the essence of the internal transformation, internal awakening process. And if you've read some of my articles on my blog, you know what I'm talking about. And that is a very, very uncomfortable process for many people. I don't remember how many of my readers have told me that, oh my God, I feel so lost. I had no interest in anything. I feel so empty. I feel numb. I have no purpose. I feel so stuck and bored. I'm scared. And I don't know what's happening. Well, what's happening is your old identities are being stripped away from you. You're being cleansed and purified, and for the lack of better word, you're going through your version of the inner purgatory. You have all these identities that used to be powered by the ego. Now that engine is being shut down so that you can reconstruct and recreate something new. And in the process, your ego is extremely unhappy, figuratively speaking. And it's telling you, hey, I used to run everything, but now it's like, I have no job to do. I feel useless. I'm so bored. Find me some more work to do. That's why you feel so frustrated. But if you know better, you stick it out. If you know better, you do not distract yourself from the emptiness that you're feeling. Because what's happening is actually your higher self lending you a helping hand. Your higher self is saying, I think she's ready for some transformation. She's ready to upgrade from human 1.0 to human 2.0. But it seems like things are happening so slowly because like she's struggling to make these changes. But it's so hard because she's like so attached to her ego. So let me come in and strip a huge part of that away and let me speed things up that way so that I will make things easier for her to make the transformation happen. Well, that's from your higher self's point of view. On the receiving end, you are like, I'm dying. I don't know what's going on. This feels terrible. But I hope I've made it a little bit clearer for you what is actually going on. If you have gone through that process or if you're going through the process right now. And keep in mind that this transformational process is likely to be recursive. What I mean is, you may go through a period of, purifying and cleansing, and then you feel like your personality, your interest and motivation, they come back again. But now your relationship with them changed. Somehow you have a little bit more fluidity, a little bit more freedom when you're dealing with these human qualities. Because now your ego is no longer fully in the driver's seat. It's actually sharing control with your higher self, the part of you that is connected, in touch with the universal consciousness, and source your power from that. And you will feel like your decision making is easier and you are more in tune with the natural flow of life instead of being rigid in any one way of doing things. And after that, there may be another period of like you go through this purification and letting go process again. And you shed another layer of your older self so that you can have even more freedom and intimate connection with your higher self. And this is really a never-ending process. And the best thing you can do to actually speed things along and facilitate your own transformation is this: love. Love is your secret weapon in this whole process of transformation. Because when you're in love, you're not in ego. The two are mutually exclusive. So some people ask me, is self-love egotistic? No, it's like the complete opposite. Because when you are able to love your ego, that means you're no longer controlled by your ego. And no matter what you apply your love to, love is love. It's just like self-love means you apply love to this being that is the most intimate to you, that is right there. That is the easy and convenient start. In any case, whenever you feel frustrated or sad or empty, or you feel joyful or happy or in love, apply love to that thing you're feeling. And that is the fastest way for you to make any fundamental changes happen. All right, that's all for today. See you next time.